Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Jewels of Knowledge, my YouTube channel. Today, I am going to do the Q&A, the Pendulum Q&A. So I finally got to some of those questions and going to go through those with you. So the first one that I have is from Kathy. And Kathy says, for months now, I am sleeping most of the time. I can fall asleep just by putting my head down on my desk. I am called to nap in 2 to 3 hour segments. So what is going on, and is my health okay? So, and what would I be doing while I'm out there? Why so much? So Kathy, I did tune into that. I'm going to try something here. Start to do, and we'll see. Okay, let's see if I can get this to all right, let's see if I can do this. If that's at a good level for the pendulum. I have found that the pendulum is kind of, it'll swing and then it'll get wonky on me. So basically what I get is, and it's kind of a generalized thing. Okay, so I'm not a doctor, but I don't see that anything is really, that this sleeping is a problem because you physically have something going on. But again, if you have concerns, you can go check with your practitioner. But our bodies, all of our bodies are our physical bodies are adjusting to the energies. We are all increasing our vibration or our frequency, as is Terra, Mother Earth is doing the same. So collectively, this is happening around us, people and all over. The downloads that are coming in affecting the bodies differently, because our physical bodies cannot ascend, they're not they're too dense. Okay, they're too dense for the ascension process that we are going into. I want to go this way. Okay. So with the cellular upgrades happening and a lot of energy, it requires the body to, use a lot of energy, which oftentimes, for most of us, it can make us more sleepy. Some people might feel energized. There are some people who have other physical symptoms as well. They might not enjoy their food as much. That it might be, they might feel more nauseous and things like that. So and some people might, like I say, need less sleep. So it occurs over time. It kind of tends to ebb and flow, if you will. So you have moments where you are just really, really tired, and then it should get better, probably give you a little bit of a break and go back to that. But I like I say, I don't see anything going on specifically to make you nap that much, but we are all best served by, possibly just changing your routine a little bit and doing more self-care. I don't know kind of where you sit with that, but it could be that you might not be able to run at the pace you've been running. Okay, so where do I have to put that to make it behave? I don't know. So I think this question you gave me was a while ago. So I'm hopeful that by now it's gotten a lot better for you. So anyway, yeah, we all have our own journey and we're all different in that regard. So I don't get anything off with you. So good luck with that. And I guess sleep when you need to. Do what you have to do. So I'm next going to go to Erin. And Erin basically, in following the channel and others, she's gotten inspired to look at different things like crystals and so forth, but and more mystic topics. But she did buy a pendulum and she's trying to get good at using it. However, when she asked the question about being called into work, it is never correct. She says, do you have any suggestions on how I can, make it work? Or is my pendulum lying to me? Or how do I get accurate results? So So Erin. I guess what I want to say to you is, and I thought this was going to work better, but maybe as I get going, it'll start to behave better. First of all, I do cover some of this in the classes that I teach, which I have to figure out how to do that, get that back up and running. But one important thing of using any divination tool, whether it's a pendulum, whether it's the dowsing rods, you know, just I suppose anything, is to spend a good enough time getting comfortable with how it works for you. Okay, really kind of knowing how it moves, what a yes and what a no is. They call that bonding. Okay, your bonding period, basically. And if you have more than one pendulum, each pendulum will work differently. Just the weight of it, everything, it responds differently. So you also want to set your intention and be clear about where your answers are coming from. And, you know, really be specific with your question. Okay. You also don't want to do rapid fire or just kind of sit down and quickly ask the question. You want to make sure you're not ill, you're not dehydrated, that you're feeling good. You don't want to be, you know, out of sorts, or in a big hurry. So, and to find out if you are good at understanding what the responses are, is do some qualifying questions. Ask the pendulum, once you know what a yes and a no is, ask the pendulum what a yes or no question to a question you already know the answer to. Like, am I wearing a red shirt? So back and forth, I decided like it's going as a no, because I'm not wearing a red shirt. Is my hair silver or gray? Yes. And sometimes you can ask it differently, you know what I mean? Get that same answer and answer it again in a different way to get the opposite answer, which still verifies it, if that makes sense. Once you're good at some of that kind of stuff, then you will most likely trust your responses better. But and really, I don't think it's good if we're asking the same questions all the time. I don't think that's a cool thing to do. But the other thing is, I will say that this is the example I'll give when it comes to when I'm losing, when I've lost an object that I want to find. That's a good example of what happens when you're really vested in the answer. You're anxious. I mean, if something's lost and we want to find it, we want it now. And so we're a little, we have anxiety already because we can't find that item. So it takes a lot to be calm and in the right space to ask the pendulum to help you find that item if you've got anxiety over it, and if you're too vested into it. So the work question that you're saying, it's possible that you really haven't removed your hope for what it should be. Like you might hope that you don't go to work and you think that you're clear, but in your subconscious, it's still, you know, it's very strong and it overrides things and it skews the results of the, you know, the answer. So don't get discouraged. You don't really, it's not normal to pick up any kind of a divination tool and, you know, use it expertisely, you know, and get everything perfectly all the time. It just doesn't work like that. And over time, as you learn to ask the questions more distinctly and more purposefully, I mean, you'll learn the language that you need to come up with, but don't give up on it. Okay, it's not something that you can do overnight necessarily, but is it easy? It's relatively easy. Just give yourself some time, and you can read up on it a little bit and see the little things that you could try. So yeah, try with questions you already know about, and try with simple questions, and practice that way more. get good with that. And then when you come to something that you're really wanting to know, make sure you ask it a certain way and see if that helps you. Okay. So I wish you well on that. Just stay with it. Okay. Perfect. We're going to go to Mar is her name. She says, can you possibly get a time frame on when med beds will come out? Will this be within the next few years? She's heard some people talk about 10 years, and others may say not in this lifetime. So she's, I know, concerned about that. And it is true, we have all had some pretty, there's all kinds of information out there. So it's true that we have conflicting information, but I'm kind of thinking that's kind of by design anymore. Looking into it now, though, it confirms what I had learned 4 to 5 months ago, that I think that there are many healing modalities that will be coming to the forefront. Some we know will be revived that have been hidden from us and improved upon, and others will be entirely new ways to heal ourselves. I get, yes, that indeed there are med beds, possibly different levels or different types of med beds. I even get that most larger cities already have some kind of med bed stashed away somewhere in a safe place, because there's a very small group of people who are in the know trying to get systems in place and ready to go when things go wrong for people. So I believe that the med beds have been used for several years, if not more than that, certainly for our military, our soldiers who are on the front lines, and the atrocities that they have seen, and for those they have rescued that have needed healing and so forth. So it's not a brand new thing. So there's no specific time to pin down when they will be known to people, because first of all, the whole system, the whole health care, or what I would call sick care system, needs to come down and be revealed for what it is, and even the government and everything. So, but we're learning that happens. You can't snap your fingers and or blink or wake up the next morning and everything is completely different. It just doesn't work like that. So I still get that med beds are not the answer for everyone. And what I mean by that is these technologies are frequency technologies, and they, if a person is not in the right vibration or frequency, it's not going to be effective for them. It's not going to work. It's not going to be an instant fix. So I do feel that we're getting closer every day to the disclosure of the systems, hoping very soon. But the people that are saying that possibly med beds aren't going to be available for up to 10 years or whatnot, realize that, there's some people that may be talking about different timelines and so forth. There's so much to everything that we hear and know about, which is why we just need to kind of quiet our minds and think for ourselves and go inward for those answers. But I also, this is really interesting, I also feel that what I've learned is over time, as we raise our frequencies and move into the increased conscious awareness, letting the energy flow through us, that honestly, med bed technology or frequency healing, we are going to be our own med beds. We are going to be able to heal ourselves. And I heard that a long time ago and it just didn't resonate, but it does now. So it kind of makes sense. So that is my answer. And I know that it doesn't give you any more concrete ideas, but some of this stuff is not for us to know. Just know it is available. They are a real thing and they are coming, and just imagine them being here, and let your mind think of it in a positive way. So instead of ho hum, oh no, and all that kind of stuff, that they're not here. So try to stay on the positive side. Okay, Mar? Okay, so we are going to go to Stephanie next. She says, I have a few interesting questions or experiences that she wants to share. So there's several of them that we're going to talk about. One night while letting out the dog, out in the middle of the night, I was standing in the doorway while waiting for my dog to come back to the door, and I suddenly felt nauseous, and I had an electric blue energy coursing through my body. It lasted only 30 seconds. It freaked me out a bit, but I let the dog back in and returned to bed and had a peaceful sleep for the rest of the night. What did I experience? So tuning into that, what I get, Stephanie, is what you experienced was an energy that was sent to you by your galactic protectors. Okay. I asked who were your galactic protectors, and it gave me Cirrus B, is what it kind of spelled out. But the nauseated part it came because our bodies don't handle those energies easily. But it was a good energy, and it was an energy that let you sleep well. And it was their way of sending their love to you. Basically, the energy was a gift to you. So maybe they saw that you would benefit from the energy, means that you did sleep well when you returned to bed, even though you were a bit taken back. But that is what I got, that it was a good thing. So the next question is that you have, on another occasion while camping with my husband, I opened the door to our bathroom area in our camper. And as I walked through the threshold, I felt as though I walked through a wavy wall of energy. What did I experience? Okay, let's start this. So what I got was that it wasn't anything related galactically or extraterrestrially. It wasn't timeline related. It was more about where your camper was positioned physically. That it was you had it parked possibly near a portal or some very strong energies in that area. And it's very I can tell that you're very sensitive to the energies, so you can pick up on these subtleties more than the average person. The energies became extremely strong when the conditions, when certain conditions occur. So I believe that that's what you were feeling or seeing, because you can actually kind of see the energies too. Whether it's almost like, to explain it, like a mirage, or like you said, the wavy. And I've even been noticing that too. So that's very cool. It's all about energies, and you are aware. So finally, your other question is, one night while I was sleeping, I had an experience where I felt like I was being held down, and I was frightened but could not yell. Was trying to yell to my husband to help me, and then suddenly I physically felt the soft brushing of a wing on the side of my face, and then I fell back asleep. What was this? Okay, so tuning into that question, I get that this would be explained by some sort of by some as a bad dream. That's what I'm trying to say. You were sleeping, but you were in the astral doing some type of battle, one which was physical, and you had your angels with you during this battle. So what you remember feeling was physical, but you were not completely back in your body when you say that you had this awareness, just enough though to feel and remember. So much like coming out of, the example I was thinking is coming out of anesthesia, possibly before you're supposed to, before the procedure is done, which would be a yikes, but you become aware. You were feeling the angels' wings because it really happened, and the angels were protecting you. So that assured you that you were safe, so you could go back to sleep. So in essence, it was something happening in your astral, and many people have noticed the physicalities that occur, like when you wake up the next day, you didn't fall, you didn't hit yourself, you didn't do anything to warrant maybe bruises you see on your body, the way your body is moving or feeling, that you're sore. These are, I guess this is a real thing. This astral traveling thing can translate into your physical body. I forget the explanation. I'm not even gonna try to explain it, but that's what was happening. You had things going on in the astral while you were sleeping. You were not quite fully awake, but just awake enough to feel like it was a dream, like you were being held down. You might have been held down in battle, but again, you did have your angels helping you, which is why you recalled the brush of the angel wings. So that's the best way I can explain it, and that's really pretty cool. So Stephanie, that is pretty awesome. So I am next going to go to Mary. She says, in January, Mary says, in January of 2020, my husband was having surgery at a big hospital for cancer. Luckily, right before the COVID lockdown started, I shouldn't have said that word. It was successful. When I went to pick him up the next day, there were cloaked ships all around the city, the town, and she was awestruck. She says, unfortunately, I did not have my phone with me to then, film them. I could hardly keep my eyes off of the sky on the drive home, and will always remember this as a very special moment. Could the ships have been there for my husband? He is highly vibrational, and with the white aura I've seen around him, I'm thinking his family, quote unquote, could have been there helping him out. I do have a good imagination, but it seems a bit more than just imagination. So I tend to agree with you. Let me get this thing swinging. Positioning it right. Okay, so we're going to answer that. Tuning into this for you, Mary, I saw that, yeah, you definitely did see ships. And I mean, if all of us are aware, there's lots of, but our galactic family and protectors are with us, and they are around us all the time. But your galactics, or these ships, they were there for both of you. So our galactic guides are always found around us, but they choose to make their presence more, they chose to make their presence more aware to you as a sign of encouragement during the time of obvious stress, which with your husband and his health condition and his surgery and all. I get that, get this. In fact, your husband especially benefited. His galactics were working on his light body during the time he was in surgery, at the same time, to ensure his full recovery. That was a wow. That was an awesome thing to receive. So I get it was Andromedans primarily that were doing that. They're the primary ones working on the light body, and there were some Pleiadians and some Sirius B around in their ships as well. So, yep. I mean, anymore, most of us are growing in not only our frequency, but our intuitions. So that was one of the first things that came to your mind. Probably, as I say, go with your first intuition, or don't discount. Don't just think that you're imagining things. It's pretty cool. So we're going to go to Vicky, and this might be that. Is this the last of them? No, not quite. So we're going to go to Vicky, and I know that you submitted this a long time ago, and it hadn't ever been answered. So I don't know if anybody ever got back to you, and I'm on my own at this point too. So here we go. She says, around 2014, I was a caregiver for a toddler who had a pretty severe reaction to food while in my care. I rushed him to the hospital where they ended up treating him with an EpiPen. So the next year, then in 2015, this previous event with the toddler seemed to have triggered me to reacting to food, where when I would eat, I would trigger into a panic attack from feeling like my throat was swelling and I couldn't breathe. I also started getting hives, which went on for at least 10 months. And the panic attacks immediately became a severe panic disorder. I was stuck in fight or flight mode from the moment I woke up until the moment I went to bed. This went on for about 1 to 2 years. That sounds horrible, Vicky. I could barely eat anything. I had food allergy testing done to basically prove to myself that I wasn't allergic to foods, which showed I wasn't. I did quite a lot of healing with an energy healer, which has helped a lot. But now, 8 years later, I am still struggling with eating. With the crazy energies lately, it's been getting very difficult again. I have had a lot of other traumatic experiences prior to this event, so I felt like it's a buildup, like to a tipping point, not to mention. So there's hormonal things going on too. So is there something you can tell me around this whole ordeal that will help me to heal and release trauma? Okay. So this, first of all, I want to tell you or say to you that I'm really sorry that you've been suffering with this. I can't imagine. I'm sure it's been very difficult for you. And I hope that maybe before you even get this answer, that you hear this answer, that it's maybe lessened and gotten easier. But what I get is the whole situation, it does, of course, have something to do with the memory of that incident in 2014 with the toddler. I moved my camera. And it did trigger you. And I do get that this isn't so much a physical issue. And of course, it's not food related, because your tests confirmed that, your allergy tests. It seems to be an emotional memory that's tied to your beliefs growing up. That's what it gives me. Okay. And it says, have your inner child release the memory of, quote, not good enough, unquote. It seems to be tied to something about having a memory, possibly in your childhood, of not being supported or having someone to really encourage you when you did have things go wrong. I'm not sure if your family didn't realize they didn't support you during those times, or maybe it was your perception, as in the way you received the information, and that's how it was translated to you. But it was, either way, we can carry these emotional scars for our entire lifetime, and certain events will trigger them. Okay, and obviously that was a big scary event for you with that little guy, or the toddler. So the emotional trauma can affect how our physical body reacts. So see, you're not really finding anything physical to point at, but all this emotion and all these trapped feelings, they do affect our bodies. So even all through our organs, although our organ systems look normal, the increase in frequencies, the increase in frequencies that continue to rise will definitely cause all of these things to rise up to the forefront. So that's the other thing, right? As we're ascending, or as we're rising in frequency, you know, we're told to let go of our baggage, or let go of the things that no longer serve us. And that would certainly be our traumas and old belief systems that keep us trapped into negative thinking and so forth, and keeping us back. But maybe it sounds like you did have some success with a healer, you know, a few years back. Maybe seek out a little bit more, find a different type of healer, you know, try to go to it with a different angle and see if some of that helps. But what came to my mind also, since it's emotional and possibly trauma induced, there are plenty of things that you can research that will show you how to release or cord cut and all that kind of thing. But affirmations, it's the self-talk, the tape recorder that we have in our head. So along with seeking out some other people to assist you with this again and try to put it to rest, you may find that working on specific affirmations like love and forgiveness, acceptance, worthiness, and things to empower you. So honestly, this is one of the things that your higher self can help, or your higher self source can help you with. And there's a way you can use, like say a pendulum. It's one of the things I talked about. If you have some way to visibly, whether it's like the muscle testing you do, or it's a yes or no with the pendulum, you can test out how well you are believing the affirmation you're saying. So basically the here, sorry, I left my place. you basically find a good affirmation and make sure it is for the now. Make sure it is something that, you know, I am worthy now of love and power and so forth. But find a good affirmation. Hold your, let's say, for instance, hold your pendulum and say that with conviction. And if the pendulum says no, then you know you don't believe what you're saying to yourself. So you can work on saying that phrase over and over and over until you get a yes. And so then you know, go back to it another day or later in the day, and you say, repeat the affirmation again with, let's say, the pendulum. And if it doesn't give you a yes right away, you repeat the process until you do, because that will give you a little bit more of an idea if you believe what you're telling yourself. Otherwise, doing affirmations, which is good to always have positive speak, they can take months and years for us to really integrate and get. I mean, the big thing is loving yourself. That's another huge one. So that's what I would say. I like I say, I hope that you can find someone else to help you as well, you know, to kind of complete this circle, because it sounds like you might need just a little bit more support in this. So I wish you well, and you can always email and let me know how it's going, okay? So last question is from Marlene. She says, I was driving home to Oklahoma and I go through Kansas on the 235 bypass. It was late, but there was lights, and all of a sudden I noticed there was no sound or cars for a long time. What was going on? So she says 2019, this was in 2019, and Dolores Cannon's books, she had read that there's something like a dead zone. She wondered if it was something like that. So what I got, Marlene, was, I don't get it was a dead zone, but instead you drove through an area that had what I'm going to call an energy portal that was open or active at the time. It wasn't from dark, and it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't created for bad or good. It was just an area in our earth that was emitting strong energies. Okay, it was like you drove into an energy that had yet to be integrated, and it allowed you to experience a brief moment of higher frequency, like a slow motion effect. An example of how events occur differently but simultaneously, and that's kind of like you know, like knowing that you're having another life and another timeline, this timeline thing again, which is really hard for me to wrap my head around. So has something to do with that. But and since you've asked this question, and I believe this was in July or whatever, and this happened to you in 2019, I'd be interested to know how your energies are doing. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And it just basically was one of those high, you must be able to notice the frequencies and so forth. And so anyway, I'm going to move on to the next question from Colleen. She says, what did she say here? My son and I are estranged. I think he hates me at this point. Over a year and a half of only texting, and I have had to back away because he was verbally cruel, and I decided I'd had enough. I miss the relationship. I miss my boy. Will he ever come and see me? To work out our differences. I'm really sorry to hear that you are not on good terms with your son right now. My answer, Colleen, is that I don't get he hates you, but rather that he is confused and following a path that is drawing him away from you. He doesn't want to hear the judgment, and he feels he knows what's best for himself. He honestly feels too self-absorbed right now to think too much about what you're doing and how you're feeling. And that sounds harsh, but I feel he's just in a different place in his life, and he doesn't feel close to you at this time because he wants to do his own thing and can't be bothered with tending to what your concerns are or having to answer to you. I get that he is busy amongst his peers right now, and that is literally only thinking of his path and his needs now. I do get that he is aware that he has not treated you well, but at this time he is really almost too proud to admit it and tries not to think about it. I am told that he will come back to you in your life again, but it doesn't say we can know the timing of that. But for now, it's in your best interest, in my opinion, to just hold space and love for him. Do what a mother does, you know what I mean? And, you know, keep him in your prayers, send him love and protection energy, and do that all from afar. And we no matter what, we love our children and we want the best for them, and they have free will and they will choose what they will do no matter what. And sometimes the more that we try to change things and work against it, the harder it is, and it puts the divide even further. So I don't know, it's a tough situation for sure. And anyway, so I thank you all for joining me. And I was trying this new video thing and kind of start and stop, and I have a few hiccups in this one, but it is what it is, guys. And there's no, you know, no pretense here. And I do appreciate your questions. I appreciate your support. So sending you all much love, and wherever you are in the corner of the world today, at this time, I send you great healing energies, great big hugs, and look forward to answering more questions. Just send the emails, and that this particular email is now going to suffice for these pendulum questions. And if you have Andromedan questions, make sure that it's for the Andromedans, and so I know that. So we just want to keep them separate of Dana's right now, so she doesn't see them in advance. So thank you for joining us, or me. Thank you for joining on this Q&A, and wish you well. Bye-bye now.